So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time, right, to talk about the new reality and essentially the new environment that all Medicare Advantage health plans are living in. And everyone is aware of the announcement that occurred on May 21st, where CMS, right, aggressively expanded the time frame because they needed to catch up on the RADV audits. So really pushing between payment year 2019 and 2024 to catch up on their RADV audits. And we all know the main purpose of this is to ensure completeness and accuracy, and CMS looking for that opportunity to recover overpayments. There's been a lot of information in the news. MedPAC puts out reports pretty much on an annual or biannual basis that speaks to, the multiple billions of dollars of overpayment that exists in the Medicare Advantage space. And this is one area that CMS is focusing on so they can catch up with probably an anticipation and expectation that moving forward, they will do these just on an annual basis, very similar to the ACA HRADV audits moving forward. And so many of you are aware of, right? It's a compressed time frame. They really want to complete all of these audits by early 2026, although CMS hasn't really defined what that early 2026 looks like. And so if that is the case, we know that payment year 19 audit sampling has occurred. So the question is, when will CMS drop the other sampling and identify the other contracts that will be selected for payment year 2020, essentially through payment year 2024? And a part of this communication, right, CMS is increasing that sample size and also selecting all eligible contracts. Historically, when CMS would announce those RADV audits, you maybe see about 60 contracts that were selected. What they've communicated now is that all eligible contracts will be selected. And even though they've dropped kind of wave one and wave two for payment year 2019, there could potentially be a wave three because we know not all contracts and eligible contracts were actually selected for payment year 19. So it'll just be interesting to see how closely CMS sticks to their communications or if they're going to have some flexibility based on plan inputs and what they're experiencing with wrapping up payment year 2018 RADV audit and then wrapping up payment year 2019 RADV audit here as we approach September and the end of September. And you can see, right, that's a significant increase in the volume of contracts that they've selected. And then moving, from that standard and previous approach of 30 plus one, tier two historical RADV audits with payment year 19. They selected 35 members with a goal and expectation to increase that to 200 members, which is essentially nearly a 6 times increase of what they've done historically. We've touched base on that 100% coverage. All plans every year will essentially be selected. And then CMS really pushing to increase their capacity, moving from 40 coders traditionally to support their old sampling approach to over 2,000 coders by September 1st. Right. So that is a significant increase there as well. And really, I think from an operational standpoint, from a health plan perspective, some of the significant changes that, kind of create some hardships or challenges to execute operationally on these RADV audits is the time frame. The submission time frame has significantly been reduced. Traditionally, that's a 20-week submission time frame of when you get your sample and when CMS opens it up to submit to CDAT to when they finally close that submission deadline. That has historically been 20 weeks. That is now 12 weeks based on payment year 2019. And then the medical records support that you can provide for each of those member HCC samples, they reduce that significantly from 5 to 2. So now you're only able to submit 2 medical records, your best available evidence records, to support each member HCC. So more plans, reduced time frame, and reduced validation opportunities. And on that medical record support, right, it's the validation that you want to occur of the HCC and ICD-10 codes in question, or the ability to identify net new HCCs that perhaps were not previously submitted and or accepted by CMS. So kind of the add opportunity can offset any error rate too. So that is just as important in the RADV audits moving forward from payment year 2019 through 2024.